Nice. Okay, anyway, just very quick, I want to share this with you. And this was probably, or this has probably been how it was since before. But this is about Next.js and about its pages router. So it's the older version, but I've been playing around with the T3 stack and trying it out because before I've only been using Firebase and such. But anyway, so for its, I guess the app router is, like it feels like client side, but at the same time it's pretty slow. But and you have like inbuilt layouts as well made for you. And in the pages router, it's more like it's raw. So like you will make your own components or abstraction, as they call it, to have functionalities that you can reuse throughout your app. For example, the concept of having layouts, or like, yeah, reusable components that will appear in each and every page that you want it to appear in, something like that. And in pages, that is not possible right off the bat. However, you can make it yourself, which I found pretty interesting actually. So I just want to share it with you guys. Okay. So in this code editor that I have, I've only imported some style for a loading bar, which I got from I think it's open source. Yeah. Just the types, session provider from Nextauth. You can check out their docs if you're not sure about what this means, but this is pretty much a context provider so we can have access to the session or whatever data that this provider gives, an API, and that's the purpose of DRPC. If you aren't sure as well, you can check out their docs, which is DRPC pretty much. And I just imported a main layout from my own layouts folder. So again, I found it beautiful because you can make your own layouts, like separate from like the page structure, like you will have the layout separate from the page structure of your file, something like that. And it's more like there's no server here, somewhat, and I feel like it's like client side. So because I found it pretty cumbersome to like have a use server on top or use client, and then you know but yeah, let's continue. And then I just have the session auth here, so like I can have an object. So you will see down below why I used this, or why I had it like this. And then just type and exported it so that my pages can use this type, because this type is where we can get these functions below. So basically what I'm doing here is, first I'm having the type of next page layout, and it will have the type of the next page. And since this next page is actually accepting, I think this is two, right? Yeah, two generics, which I've discussed. That means this type can also, this type should have the generic as well inside, like here. Then of course we will just declare what kind of type will the generic P have, and what kind of type will the generic IP have. Somewhat like that. Of course, you should always refer to their docs because I'm only explaining this based on how I see it. But anyway, and then after that, I'm using the end operator. I'm not sure what it's called, like the right term, but this is like saying that this type of next page layout is equals to the type of next page, and then pass on its generics inside. And it is also a type. So like you will combine these two right here. So this type next page with layout is equals to the type of next page and this object right here, or we can also call it an interface. So we can separate this into an interface if we want. So let's try that out. So interface, um, next page, additional props, I guess, and see if it will work or not. next page at the no props. There we go. No, no, no. Get next page. Additional props. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, what happened there? Should be like this. Okay. Did it work? Let's wait for our PC to load. Okay, nice. There we go. As you can see, this is pretty much an interface all in all. Or you can also have like a type, changes to type, and then just have type, next page additional props is equals to this type, or is equals to an object. Okay, so since we combine these two, that means if we had this type equal to a page, it will also have access to these two functions. So if I go to a page folder, and now if I try to access that, so as you can see, we have this now. So landing page is equals to the type of next page with layout. So if I say landing page dot get layout, there we go. And this get layout is equals to a function, and this function has access to the page. So pretty much whatever is passed on down here. And this get layout is passed on a component prop, or which is pretty much what the component is being passed on here, or the page itself, like here. So we're exporting it by default in the landing page. So it will now be equal to here. So everything here is handled by Next.js, and we're just like, you know, using its functionalities and such. Or we can extend its functionalities rather. And then we can return, and since on our type, this get layout function actually returns a React node. So a React node is pretty much, let's say, a group of nodes, or well, elements in this case, just JSX elements. So you have something like this, and then when we return the page, it will pretty much look the same as this in the first place, because we haven't added additional elements. But if we do add it, then that means this landing page will have this layout, or or will have the additional elements. Now, why this is beautiful is because I learned that I can actually do this besides using like a layout somewhat. Like for example, here we have the get header. So in this case, we will have a function, for example, the landing page. And to access the function get header, we just say dot get header. Since it is since this is what we declared on the interface or type up here, get header. And this get header is a function which can have access to the session that over here. And the session has a type of session or null, and this type session comes from the Nextjs library. So you don't have to worry too much about that. But the important thing here is that we can pass on anything that we want, and then this will be accessible to wherever we declare this get header. So for example, over here, we will declare a get header for the landing page, and then this get headers, and then this landing page's get header function is equals to a function which accepts a session, and this will return a React node, or in our case, since this is a get header function, we can just return a header. For example, we can return a homepage header. Okay, there we go. And since our homepage header actually needs to accept a session, I don't know why we're not getting an error here. Header props. Oh, okay, there we go. See, it needs a session. So this is just from the header props here, and this is separate from this overall function here. But anyway, in this way, we can just pass on the session equals to session. Now, the power from this is that we can actually have different headers for each page without actually worrying about like putting it like in here and then like looking for it. So it's somewhat like I don't know what's called, but it's explicit. So like you know that, oh, okay, this is where we get the header from. And from here, we actually can have just a default header at the same time. So this is what we call non-knowledge coalescence, I think. But what this pretty much means is that get, or rather, declare the variable get header. And this will be equals to component edits key of get header. So over here, this component right here is an object and it has a key of get header based on what we declared here. And if it doesn't have any value, so that means it was not declared by a page. For example, here, if we remove this, that means this will be null now. This get header will be null for this page of index.tsx. It's null. So this question mark is like asking, it's null? Oh, okay. Then the value of get header will now be equal to this. So this is pretty much just a function that returns a homepage header component. And this function is pretty much the same as the function type up here. And everything will still be the same. Of course, you need to pass on the session once we actually invoke it on our JSX. So if you remove this, we will get an error, right? Yeah, there we go. We get an error. Expected one argument. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I know it seems somewhat silly because you can just declare the layouts here and such, but I like to somewhat, like make it readable and such. Anyway, I just wanted to share this. Wow, that was pretty long. This could have been talked about for like, I don't know, 2 minutes, but anyway, I hope you learned something about the Pages router because I'm somewhat new to it. I've only like tried the app router for like a month now, or I think 3 weeks. But anyway, yeah, a month or so. That's all. Yeah. This is pretty fun compared to the app router, actually. Although the app router does give you server actions and like smooth transitions, etc. But anyway, thank you for watching. Good luck on your development journey and happy learning.